Boom, monkeys, and we are live. Welcome back to Tacos and Kimchi Crypto Stream, episode 2. Twinkie, hit it.
What's going on, brothers? Friends and DJs, glad to be here. Good to see y'all. See if I got the thing you're looking for. A little late. Oh, Boogie, I think we lost you on audio, brother.
How about now? You got me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. You got to add like a
Technical
cucaracha to
difficulties.
that, bro. I'm saying?
Technical difficulties tonight.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, bro. A little bit. First person in the chat, man, that hopped in here was freaking Brown 310. What about tamales? Hey, sorry, homie. I'm not a fan of. Yes, I know I'm Mexican, bro, but I'm a taco guy more than I'm a tamale guy. You know what I'm saying? And that is for my brown brother. Now we got my Asian brother here, Agent J. You guys are late. I'm already here. And then he says, kimchi tamales, brown. Hey, that's innovative, homie. Kimchi tamales, homie. You ever eaten tamales before, Twinksters?
I have. Sounds like we got like friends and DGen food truck project coming up. we'll take payment in crypto, right?
Yeah. Hey,
I see this as an absolute win.
Get payment in freaking ink token, if anything. Know what I'm saying, dude? All right, cats. This is our second episode we've done together, myself and Mr. Twinksters, as far as the tacos and kimchi episode goes. We will be trying to have these every Sunday or on the weekend whenever we're available. Of course, if things don't freaking pan out, we will advise you guys via freaking Twitter. So make sure you follow my homie Twinkie on Twitter, and you follow me on Twitter as well. Where can they get a hold of you, Twinksters, or what is your handle name on Twitter?
Yeah, absolutely. It's at Mr. Angry Twinkie, both on YouTube and on Twitter. Instagram still giving me shit every time I try to verify. I must have pissed off somebody over there.
Yeah, I get it. I'm pretty much the same on Twitter and YouTube, US crypto_boogie. But on Instagram, I'm just crypto_boogie monkeys. So let's move on to the first freaking meme of the day, son. And then we'll hit up these freaking interesting chats that we're getting here, bro. I'm liking the amount of people we're getting here, bro. We're getting a lot of freaking engagement. I think it's dope. Shit like this motivates me, Twinksters.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I'd love to see the community feedback. And, I think this is working out really well considering your first channel got nuked.
Yeah, man. I know, dude. I know, man. Hey, if doggone Dave Chappelle can make jokes like this, so can we, homie. You know what I'm saying? So can we. So this is the first meme of the day. And let's see what it entails, man. I get McLovin vibes from this cat. You know what I'm saying? Let's play this sucker.
What are you doing?
Drinking in public.
Why?
Feeling like a bad boy today.
You just walked up to a cop drinking in public because you felt like a bad boy? How old are you?
I'm not old enough.
Is that really beer?
Yeah.
Why don't you pour it out?
No.
Seriously? You have mental health issues?
Hell no.
You're just drunk?
I'm drunk in love.
You trying to piss me off?
Are you a deputy?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So this is what we live here. Where do you live at? Where do you live? Listen.
Oh my gosh, bro. This kid is fucking
The guts on that kid.
Now, this one made me laugh as well. This is from Girl Math. And let's see what this entails. This is going to be interesting, cats. This is going to be, especially for us technical analysis guys that love the freaking numbers, man. Let's see what this entails.
31, young, 32.
Someone wanted this explained. This is girl math for age. She says 25 old, 28 young, 30 old, 31 young. And it goes on like that. One reason that men and women don't understand each other is that men look at objective characteristics of things and women look at relative ones. So if you're a man, you would say 18 is young and 40 is old and beyond is even older. But if you're doing girl math, you would say, okay, this is young, but this is old because I'm not 18 anymore. I'm no longer in this group. But then This is young again because I'm not 30 yet. So it's about where you are in each phase of life. And 40 is young, she says, because I'm not 60. Men usually think this is ridiculous, but it's not necessarily. Women are calculating where they are in relation to others in order to calculate social position and make choices about what to do with their lives, and it can be effective. That's why their minds are so easily hacked by sales. They jack up the price and then they take it back down, and women go, hey, relative to normal, we're actually doing really well here. If you are a man, you should really figure this out. You should really figure out how women think. It really changes things. Use this, analyze it.
This guy is something else, man. And I can attest to that, Twinksters. I've been married before, bro. This is correct. This is this is correct, dude. If anything, man. Oh yeah, bro.
I love the
Yeah,
drawings. His
yeah,
his art is
yeah.
great.
I love the way he I wonder if he draws everything out himself, man. I'm assuming he does, bro. He's got to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my understanding is he and his colored pencils get down with all of the drawings and layouts and the like. So interesting dude.
Yeah, man. Now, what do we have on the chat going on here? Friggin' Agent J says, "Got to go to that food truck in Little Korea." And then we got freaking Brown. We ain't got no Little Korea over here, just Little Tokyo and Koreatown. Ay, bro. That's freaking hilarious. Let's move on to the first freaking coin of the day, which is born as motherfucking Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? We're going to hit this bitch up, see what Bitcoin entails. Of course, I got my blue chart going. Now, cats, me and Twinkie were actually talking in the green room as to how freaking Bitcoin was doing on the weekly. And we were discussing the possibilities of possibly getting a pullback. Now, mind you, this chart is on the weekly, and this is what we did notice. I'm sure you guys saw this last time. We did break past the symmetrical triangle, and we protruded past it with the current candle rate we have at 51,585. Now, mind you, this can travel a little bit higher before we do dip down into the level 4 portion of the Elliott wave. Now, I'm assuming that the Elliott wave will end up playing out because we've already got 3 aspects of it, the 0 to 1, the 1 to 2, the 2 to 3, and it looks like we may come down into a 4. Now, the question is, if we go over here to the freaking red chart, put the sucker on the daily. The question is, are we going to dip at about day 45, or will there be a slight premature dip before day 45? Day 45 will be around March 8th. And I am talking about the 60-day cycle on average. One thing I did notice when Bitcoin did pump, I noticed that it made contact with this area of resistance, which was at 51,168. We did slightly protrude past that on February 15th, and the high for that day was approximately 52,884. Of course, we got rejected there, and it seems where we may start freaking retracing a little bit down. I'm expecting that we will slightly slow down as we approach this area of support, which is about exactly 50,000, which is a psychological area. And if we come down hard enough, we will revisit this area of about 48,000. Now, mind you, this is if the Elliott wave does play out. We will probably come back down to like around 42, give or take. That's what I showed you guys on the blue list of Bitcoin, but that's what I'm noticing in the immediate time frame. Now, mind you, this is not financial advice. This is only speculation as to where we might go. Now, you cats are probably wondering what this red line is we have here. This red line signifies the area of the halfway point for this Bitcoin 60-day cycle. And it seems that we are on about we are printing a UTC candle on about day 26. So we're only a couple days away from day 30, which would be February 22nd. What do you think, Twinkie? Do you think we'll pull back a little bit, or are you expecting us to run higher? What's your gut telling you? I know you're not a TA guy. You're more of a fundamental analysis cat. Give me your speculation on this. What do you think?
Okay. So here's kind of where my head's at. My TA is generally revolving around support resistance when I look at a number of different things. And that's just to simplify my life and give me some time back in other aspects of my life. So what do we got coming up? Historically, we've seen a bit of a dip, let's say pre-halving and the run up to the halving in cycles prior. We know we're about 60 days out, give or take, depending on which count you're using, to said halving. We know we had a dip earlier in the year. The question in my mind is that the pre-halving dip. Other X factor stuff I see running in the background. What are we doing with interest rates? Basically, I think with the CPI and the like coming in hot, we're not going to see any sort of interest rate cut. I think that's pretty much set at this point in time. Other stuff around the corner, tax season. I'm hoping for a bit of a dip, so I can certainly buy more. If you're asking me how much crypto do I have, how much BTC and let's say other tokens do I have, my answer was, and I think will always be not enough. So
I concur, man. It's never friggin' enough, dude.
Yeah. How much do I want? More. That's what I want. I want more. Outside of that, I'm personally hoping to actually see a modest dip in the grand scheme of things. If it's more significant, I'll just buy harder. My conviction over the last several years has not changed. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm, Sailor Moon, laser eyes. There is no second best conviction. I believe in the space. I'm looking for things to pick up. There's a great comment in the chat that just popped up from one of the resident community TA wizards, Agent J, stating on average dips around 35 days before the halving. So be it a right or left translated cycle, we're going to get a dip. I'm leaning in that direction myself, Jay. Boogie and I have had this chat, let's say off camera a lot. I tend to be fairly agnostic in a number of fronts in my life. So, I'm always kind of riding the fence and ready to play left hand or right hand, depending on what the situation calls for.
Yeah, I get you, man. I get you, bro. I can concur with Agent J as well. Regardless if we get a dip or not, around day 45 or so is when we may end up getting a little bit of a dip, or as we approach day 60. Even though it's a higher low or a lower low, we probably will end up getting a dip at some point in time. The best thing that we can do, man, is to keep a little bit of freaking dry powder ready to freaking go, if anything, man. That's what I'm trying to do, trying to develop my dry powder a little bit more, man. I'm just trying not to buy my favorite coins as we get green candle after green candle after green candle.
Yeah, agreed. I've mentioned before on a few different streams that my underlying strategy, and look, everyone's personal situations are their own situations. I do think there are some very general best practices everyone can adhere to, but as you start moving beyond that, you do need to be really honest about your own personal situation. Do you have some level of emergency expenses ready to go? If your AC stops working, your furnace stops working, you got a car breakdown or something like that, do you have funds which you can cover those bills without needing to sell off some of your assets, such as maybe some of those crypto bags you've worked really hard to build out over time? So what I do is I DCA a little bit every week. It might be in an altcoin, a specific altcoin. It might be in a number of altcoins and the like. And I also leave a pile. I convert a pile of fiat into a cash reserve every week as well. So if this is everything I want to put into the market this month, some goes in every week. Some other element of it goes into building cash reserves. So if and when I like a dip, it looks juicy enough, I'm going to go in a little heavier out through throwing cannonballs at it.
Yeah, I concur, man. I concur. The way I've been buying, I've not utilized that strategy, the one you like to use, using Bitcoin as a method of to save. That way you DCA as freaking Bitcoin pumps and then the altcoins dump. And that's one of the methods that I can apply to my aspect of freaking buying freaking dips. If anything, I've just been putting straight up cash into the market on whichever coins are down. I've in a ways, I guess you can say I've kept it classic. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think, and I think it's from those books that freaking Charlie recommended us, the freaking Market Wizards and Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. They had no Bitcoin to put it back in 1910. You know what I'm saying, homie?
Yep. Yeah. And so I think I've mentioned this on a few different streams, and like at this point in time, just based on my entry prices, I have sold roughly 1/5 of the Bitcoin I hold, either into a cash reserve or I've converted it into other tokens for this current market run and what I think is going to happen over the next, let's say, 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, I concur, man. I concur. Well, talking about coins and Bitcoins and Bitcoin and the main coins we should be DCAing into. Let's move on over to frickin' boring ass ETH, homie. Let's see what the ETH chart entails, my friend. I wonder if the TA guys get pissed off when I talk shit like that. I wonder if they do, man, because this is our bread and butter, homie. Now, ETH has been acting a little bit weird. I was expecting ETH to get over here to about 29.37, but we are seeing slight pullbacks on the daily. It may be that we're retracing to this red area here that I did draw up as areas of support and resistance. And that area is exactly at about $2,500, $2,590, about $2,600, give or take. Or you could even say here about 26.22. I'm expecting it to come back down here and possibly freaking jump back up and compromise this area of 29.37, if anything. If we do break past this area of about 25.90, we could go revisit this area of about 24.54. And then below that, we would have 23.42. Let's see how we're doing with the EMA ribbon. Now, as per the EMA ribbon, it does seem that we are freaking bullish, if anything, because when the yellow portion of the EMA ribbon is to the top side and the red portions to the bottom side, it does mean that we'll probably continue to rally, but it doesn't always play out that way. And the more we see the EMA ribbon expand, we'll notice that there's more volatile movements on the coin and as to how it bounces. One thing I did notice that the 200 exponential moving average is over here making contact with this area of about 21.22. So if we don't dip extremely hard, but we do dip decently in a hard fashion, I think this will be a decent area of where we will hold support. Now, one of the things I have been mentioning, Twinksters, is that I am a big fan of buying ETH under $2,200. Me personally, you know what I'm saying? Would I advise anybody? Well, this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, if I didn't hold any Ethereum, would I buy some Ethereum now? I would buy very little amounts while I'm expecting an incoming dip. Now, mind you, somebody brand new to the crypto market, I'm not expecting them to have that type of discipline, which is why I'm hoping they're at least in the Citadel chat or in the freaking crypto mindset meetup, or they're following myself or you, Twinkie, or maybe the cats at the Degen roundtable, if anything, you know what I'm saying? Because I want them to be capable of buying on dips and not feeling that freaking FOMO. Twinkie, what are some of the things that you have used to beat FOMO? I know some of the things that I have used to defeat FOMO is if I feel that I really want to buy now, I'll slightly DCA in so I could give myself that little morsel of at least holding that coin before it does a bigger dip. What do you think?
Yeah, if I feel myself potentially, if I got a FOMO situation and I'm debating whether or not I want to chuck all my money into the market, I typically buy a bottle of vodka, blow a bunch of lines, and go to the strip club. So I can't throw my money in the market because I already use it elsewhere. So I don't have to worry about FOMOing into something like an ETH run up or the like.
Twinkie, how the fuck can you say that with a straight face, bro?
I got a lot of practice, brother. As far as other stuff, man, I personally, one of the things that helps me prevent that is I do make a small weekly buy of about $50 every week on ETH. So, bear market, bull market, doesn't matter. I just buy a little more ETH, and there may be other more optimal strategies to maximize return on investment and maximize return on dollars. For me, just having the confidence, and I think that's a huge element in so many different things we do, having the confidence that my money will be put in and ultimately put to good use by ensuring I pick up a little ETH every week helps me out. And sure, if it drops closer to $2,000 or whatever, I'm snapping up more. Goes sub $2,000, oh yeah, we're gonna start backing up some vehicles and getting ready to rock on that stuff.
I'm sure you can see this freaking chat right here. This
I
chat
do. Brown telling me I do the Lord's work. Hey man, who am I to question the will of the powers that be? Certainly somebody's got to put him through school and help him out.
At least that's what they say, man. At least that's what these ladies dancing on poles. Yeah, that's wild to me, man. With the OnlyFans, maybe some girls, I guess some chicks can have an advantage to stripping over OnlyFans, if anything, because not the whole freaking nation sees them. for $2.99. You'll see certain parts of their body for $2.99, if anything, man.
Yeah, it's a
And
little more regional.
yeah, and they're limited to the areas that they're at. So if they do move to another city or another area within their state, they could pretty much start from brand new. But dude, I mean, if you're red pill, you should be able to sniff this out, if anything.
Yeah. If you're paying attention to the community and some of the folks that let's say we intersect with, for sure. I got a little bit of information I want to throw up on screen here real quick.
Go for it.
So let me share some stuff out real quick. And
Sure.
yeah, absolutely. So next month we're gonna have we're slated to, in roughly March 13th, get that Denkun upgrade on Ethereum mainnet. Shortly thereafter, though, Uniswap, and I know whatever people's personal opinions may be about Uniswap and some of the decisions they made, they are popular. They have a ton of liquidity there. They get a lot of traffic, right? Let's just call a spade on that front. They do have Uniswap V4, which will launch sometime later this year, slated for later this year. As because I see in widescreen. I always see in 16:9. So,
oh my gosh, bro. Ay.
They got this upgrade coming later this year for Uniswap. It's okay. Agent J can say it. He's got the pass on this one. So this Uniswap upgrade, though, with V4, somebody fished this out last year looking at some of their code on this, and they're going to have these things called Uniswap hooks and hooks in their code, effectively turning Uniswap into a protocol. So one of the elements that is buried in the Uniswap V4 upgrade is the potential for KYC type requests on potentially LPs. And so I'm not seeing a whole lot of mention in this in the news on this recently. Be aware this is out there. Uniswap obviously has done some real sketchy stuff on the front end in terms of preventing certain Richard Hart tokens from being accessible on their exchange. Again, in this particular case, buried in their code, currently planned for Uniswap V4, is the potential ability to seek KYC information, potentially for LP providers. Now, the community might say, hey, kick rocks, we're going to pull our liquidity and move elsewhere. Given, though, that they are so popular, there will inevitably be some folks, I think, that bend the knee. So we definitely need the community to step up on this one. If it goes that path, really embrace the spirit and nature of crypto and DeFi.
Yeah, man. So I'm assuming they'll probably ask you to upload your freaking driver's license or your ID or your passport, if anything, man.
Yeah.
In
Decentralized finance. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But I think this is a great opportunity for cow swap, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I would only assume, Twinksters, that freaking Sushi Swap would freaking follow suit, man. I would only assume.
You know what? I'm not enough well enough versed in aspects of the development team and legal side of things on where different entities are stationed. So I know, let's say in my daytime life, I've had to deal with this concept called Nexus, where even if you're an online business, if you have a representative with an effectively like a business address in that state, potentially you are subject to what the IRS is calling Nexus, meaning you now have to handle like employer payroll taxes there, sales taxes, and the like, just because you have somebody in that state working with effectively a business mailing address there. So definitely something we'll have to pay attention to as a larger community. Agent J saying, hey, there's enough V3 pools out there. Uni can kick rocks. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're going to just have to walk away from them if that goes down that path. Oh, Boogie, if you're chatting, brother, you're on mute again, or we lost your audio.
How's that?
Back again.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you do want to freaking, I mean, to your CPA or to your tax person, bro. That's cool, man. But to a third party, bro, aside from that, I don't think I'd be cool with that. If anything, man, I'll be using probably cow swap a lot more, if anything, bro. Sushi swap, if it hasn't gone that route. I think I had heard something of the case of freaking doggone 1inch utilizing that as well. I'm saying being that way as well.
Yeah, and we'll see other exchanges pop up, right? So unquestionably, in the spirit of DeFi, we'll see some other things pop up for these exchanges, and certain ones will say, hey, that's not part of our ethos, or brand new things we haven't even yet seen will come to the market.
Yeah, yeah, man. And Brown 310 says PulseX is on the way, and I've been barking up this tree for a while, man. I think I've been probably the only, well, not the only YouTuber, but I think I've been the first YouTuber that's been barking up this freaking tree, man. That dude Richard, he needs to release Ethereum on freaking PulseX, bro. He needs to launch Ethereum on PulseX so we can do transactions there as well, man. Know what I mean?
So, do you think that's one of the aces up his sleeve, right? Because there's a lot of, I think, really obvious things they can do with PulseX. Whether or not they choose to do it is a different story. Certainly, single-sided staking for PulseX being a really obvious potential driver there.
Yeah,
Bringing PulseX to the Ethereum side, certainly another option.
yeah,
Limit orders and the like directly in the UI. There's just a number of different, I think, really obvious plays. And the benefit there is on a drip feed, it's like, oh, we're losing a little market share, or we're not getting enough attention, or we want to highlight the community in a brighter light. Hey, good news. Here's this new function.
yeah.
Here's this new feature.
Yeah, man, I get what you're saying, dude. I think, I mean, when I first hopped on with the crypto scene, Miguel had told me, man, if you're ever gonna make a purchase of about $10,000 or more, the way to go was with Matcha or Matcha.com, or I haven't been to that website in a while, man. The only reason I really used it was for limit orders and stuff like that. But I had heard that maybe that they had removed Hex as well. Of course, I mean, don't quote me on this. I'm not fully sure, but I heard Matcha starting to go the route as well with freaking doggone Uniswap, if anything, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then fast forward to February 2024, Coinbase is providing information. It's not a listing, right? They're not allowing you to directly buy the token, but they're providing information on Richard Hart tokens. So
Yeah.
it went from like excommunicado to all of a sudden, hey, I guess we kind of got to acknowledge this dude exists and his projects are being successful.
Yeah, I concur. I concur, man. Since we already covered ETH and we did as you guys can see in the thumbnail, and I forgot to mention this, we are going to cover ETH, Bitcoin. We're going to cover a little bit of Pulse Chain, and we got some data on Polkadot, man. Next up, we're going to hit you guys up with some freaking Pulse Chain. We were actually going to do Polkadot next, but since we're already on the Richard Hart freaking subject about doggone freaking PulseX, why not move on to freaking Pulse Chain, if anything? You know what I'm saying? Let's see where the Pulse Chain is at, son. Wait a minute.
Yeah, and while you're sifting through that, just a friendly reminder to the community, please bookmark your stuff and do a little bit of homework before you just start connecting to things. I was requested to take a look at some stuff here from a community member earlier this morning, and was talking with Agent Jay about this when they're relaying this story. Unfortunately, this person was, I would think, it's a little bit lazy, just a little too relaxed and a little too undisciplined in terms of interacting with different bridges and exchanges and not bookmarking things. So this person got rinsed for millions upon millions of PulseX, millions upon millions of Pulse Chain, got smashed on the DAI side of things too. I was able to help track down what was happening and unravel this mystery. And I'm going to have a stream tomorrow about, let's say, some of the larger details and finer details as well, how I was able to help this individual piece the puzzle together. The issue was ultimately connected to a fake bridge, and like it's got the right look, feel, flavor, just connected to a fake bridge. And once he approved those smart contracts, that's where he got smashed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, man, dude. You and Miguel's always preached that shit, man, that you need to bookmark your stuff, bro. Of course, or if I don't have something bookmarked, what I do, Twinksters, I go over to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, and I hit the token's info, bro, and I make sure I'm utilizing the right freaking the right website, because yeah, I don't want to. And dude, these freaking scammers, bro, they've gotten more sophisticated with the way they run their shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. They're getting smarter, right? And as anyone who's been in the game for a minute or two, over time you want to develop multiple wallets so you don't subject your whole bag to one mistake, one slip up. In general, you don't want to have a single point of failure. And so this person, unfortunately, learned a very expensive lesson this morning. However, I said, small acts of mercy, you get a little bit of luck here and there. The good news is it's still early. You still got time to recoup these losses. You can still get back in the game. You're not done yet. Don't quit. You still got time.
Yeah, dude, and it's a good thing it didn't happen at the top of the bull run, bro. If anything, it's a good thing it happened now, but then later. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't crossing his T's and dotting his I's, man. I see, Twinksters, that you got let me pull up this screen. You want me to pull this up?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Since we're
Yeah.
talking about aspects of discipline and security and like protecting your wallet and the like, let's talk a little bit about some other forms of and different kinds of security.
Yeah, this is
So,
gangster.
yeah, absolutely. I know Boogie and I were talking about some just different scenarios and like different types of security, right? And so you could have physical security of your property, your assets, right? How you secure your seed phrases being one of them. And so one of the things we were talking about is people, there are these different solutions where you can stamp stuff into metal. Let's say a more straightforward kind of semi-low tech one is you can potentially stamp it to washers, get a nut and bolt, and keep it in such a fashion like the following, where it's going to be heat resistant, water resistant, and you've got a fairly durable mechanism to back up your seed phrase. Now, aside from getting the words on the washers, make sure you've got your sequencing right on that in the event you need a recovery. Get some sort of numbering schema in there, because if you lose that nut and drop all your washers, good luck figuring out the right order. If you don't have an ability to confirm that. Some of the other stuff too we've talked about is some of the commercial solutions. So, Boogie, are you using any of the commercial solutions for stamping the stuff in metal, or have you been considering some of them?
Yeah, I've been looking at the engrave, man. But before we move on to that, this is what you're showing here is pretty interesting, bro. Of course, it says block mit at the bottom. I'm assuming that is a seed phrase, and I think a good way of doing it, and I don't know if that's a 00 at the top, what I'm seeing on that top washer, it's a 0 or a D. You know what I'm saying? But that would be a good place to put like 01 as your first
Yeah.
letter in your seed phrase. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Like
And
115, depending how long your seed phrase is. Absolutely.
yeah, this is not a bad idea. Another thing I noticed about this, man, you got to make sure that freaking when you detent these freaking letters in, you got to make sure it's very, very, very apparent, not just a light scratch into the freaking washer, homie.
Yeah, it's got to be solid on that imprint.
Now, Twinkie did say is that you got to set it up in a certain sequence, in a certain order. Make sure you have your fucking order straight, bro. I would also keep it on paper, bro, if anything. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was looking at the motherfucking engrave, homie. I was eyeballing that shit. But what turns a lot of people off about the freaking engrave is the damn price. But let me show you cats what the engrave is. There's also another one that one of my homies got, and it's called the Elipal. And that one's a little bit more affordable. And this is the engrave. Can you see it, Twinksters?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, it says 0 and graphene. And it comes, I would want to get this one. It comes up for $498. And this board that you have here in the back, let's see if I can click on this sucker, man. This board that you have in the back, you can pretty much stamp in what your seed phrases are. So if your house burns down, God forbid, you can go ahead and retrace your freaking your password. And this is a cold storage wallet, from my understanding, and there's no connection. It's Wi-Fi gapped to the internet, which is pretty damn gangster. My only question is, would I be able to upload something like Pulse Chain into this? That is my only question about that shit. I think as of recent, Trezor did upload the Pulse Chain option to their Trezor suite. You know what I mean?
Interesting. I'll have to take a look at that further. As far as the overall, let's say, resiliency of the solution, okay, metal, really appealing. You mentioned having a paper copy. So one of the things I do for my paper copies, I laminate them. That's one of the things I absolutely do. And that's because moisture, right? So you spend all your time writing down these seed phrases and you have it in solid print and the like. And then what happens, right? Like, let's say your house catches on fire, God forbid, or your home catches on fire, right? Let's hypothetically say you extinguish that fire, but now what? Potentially you've got fluids or the like that maybe gets that piece of paper wet, and now you've got some issues. So I laminate mine. In fact, I actually keep a copy of my seed phrases in a waterproof, fireproof box. So one of my
Let me add this, Twinkie.
yeah, go ahead and throw that up. So this is an example of the type of solution I use. Reason being here is I used to be general manager of an office some years back, And one of the things that we looked at from a risk exposure standpoint was, okay, what happens if the sprinklers and the fire suppression system in the office goes off? Well, what do we have on paper copy? And granted, this was a number of years ago. And it's just, everything isn't effectively instantly backed up like it is today. So what happens if you lose the server room? What if you lose paper copies and the like? So there were certain materials that we would keep in fireproof, waterproof boxes because while you might have it in a fireproof box and it can address the heat issue, a substantial number of documents are actually destroyed by water in the attempt to put out the fire. So if you're going to go this route, make sure you get something fireproof, waterproof on that front, because you're going to have a really bad day if stuff is burning, they put it out and all of a sudden your shit's soaked, all the ink is run, and you can't figure out how to restore your wallet.
Can you share this link in the chat, Twinksters?
Yeah. This is just a prime example of a particular option. Doesn't have to be this specific one, but I encourage everyone, if you're going to go this path and you want to keep stuff on paper, one, I personally laminate it. Two, make sure it's in a fireproof, waterproof box.
Roger that. No, this one looks high speed, bro. I like the way this set up. This one's set up. One thing I always do, man, like a lot of my guns in the background, bro. I don't just go blindly go buy guns, and I'm relating this to what you're talking about. I tend to go do some YouTube reviews, see what everybody's saying, or I would hop onto Amazon and check to see what the star ratings say, if anything, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get a real shitty one that can't freaking withstand fire or water, they're just marketing it that way, then you're pretty much screwed, homie. Freaking Simply Safe, for whichever company it is that's providing you that product, are not going to pay you back for those millions of pulse chain that you could have lost. You know what I'm saying? Or the value of those pulse chain, because, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we don't want to have a single point of failure at the end of the day. Right.
Yeah.
And so we talk about backing up our seed phrases and the like. The benefit to this type of unit, and as somebody who owns one that's very similar to this, it is not necessarily what I'm going to call ultra portable. It's a solid sized cube, but if push comes to shove, you can potentially, grip it, carry it. Some of them have carrying handles and the like, and you can take it with you. So if you got like important files, you got copies of your seed phrase in there, then it's potentially a semi-portable option that you can have ready to go if you need it.
Yeah, it's pretty damn high speed, bro. I like that setup there. Let me show them the one that I found that I'm going to probably do some reviews on. If you don't mind, Twinksters.
Not at all.
Is this one here. It's called, let me see, where's it at? Where's it at? The Honeywell. And this one looks pretty damn gangster. I guess I like it because it looks like a freaking a gun safe. You know what I mean? And it's only $100. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that one's pretty compact looking too, right? Like that's compact, like briefcase size one. The one I have is definitely bigger than a briefcase.
Yeah, and I think that one's pretty damn good, bro. Especially if you want to carry your shit from point A to point B, that'd be pretty damn squared away, if anything. You know what I mean?
For sure.
We got freaking somebody had made a funny ass comment, bro. Freaking Brown. I got 12 baby mamas. I just tattooed one word onto each one of their.
Brown upholding a stereotype.
Yeah, bro. Oh, shout out to freaking Gaines by Casey. He is on board. What's up, homies? Getting smarter on a Saturday night. Yeah, man. Yeah, homie.
And that's why you're gonna make it.
Exactly. And then we got my homie freaking Tex Max, the hardest working trucker in America, checking in. Boogie and Twinkie, working and listening. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. And we got my other homie here, OG. Que pasa, amigo? What's up, dog? What is up, man? All right, cats, let's move on to Pulse Chain, man. Let's see what Pulse Chain entails. And by the way, after we're done with Pulse Chain, we'll hit up the Elipal next. And I got a small video from Mother Frickin' Coin Bureau, and he talks about the engrave. Let's do some Pulse Chain first.
Let's do it.
Let's see, where's Pulse Chain, homie? Yada, 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 yada. Here it is. All right, Pulse Chain's current value, man. Man, I hope this doesn't look too convoluted for you cats. We are on the daily, and I drew up this little Fibonacci retracement. I don't like to call this a double bottom. Some technical analysts would call this a double bottom, if anything. Of course, you can see that W pattern that we came into while we rallied up. That usually tends to be a very bullish sign. Let me go ahead and remove that freaking W pattern. And it does seem that we are trending on the last portion of the doggone Fibonacci retracement, with the exception of this white line. we're in between this gray line and this red line, and it seems like we might be falling over. Let's see where we're at as far as the 20-day cycle goes on freaking pulse chain. We're only on day 11, monkeys. For you cats that don't know, 20-day cycles on average, from what I've noticed, and mind you, this could change. This could completely be discombobulated if freaking a black swan event occurs, or if something drastic happens in the market. On average, I've noticed that we do dip around day 14 to day 21. There has been some instances where it's pushed up all the way to day 24 or 25. So with that stated, if I push this all the way out to day 14, that would be February 21st, where we could see a new low, or possibly around day 21. And that would be around February 28th. Now, people tell me, why don't you use day 20? Because on average, I do see that these suckers go all the way up to 21 days. I would name it a 21-day cycle, but it is what it is. The person who discovered it deserves credit for this. Let me go and turn on these freaking moving averages. And as I can tell on these moving averages, they are all significantly below where pulse chain value is at. Now, if we activate our Bollinger Bands, we still have room to travel to the upside. Now, let me go ahead and zoom in on for you cats so you guys can see this shit. You guys saw that I drew up this white trend line that's up over here. And above it, we have this gray Fibonacci retracement. What's wild is that this Bollinger Band extends all the way to the exact point of that Fibonacci retracement. And that value, if we were to go back up over there, you're talking about 3 zeros and a 1559. Now, how much farther is that from where we're at now? That is only about 5%. If we go up 5%, we would be at the top portion of that freaking Bollinger Band, and we'd be making contact with the top portion of the freaking Fibonacci retracement. Now, let's look at this sucker on the weekly. And let me turn this sucker off. Now, as you guys can tell, we were right up over here on the weekly. Next area we do need to compromise is this freaking the spitting top doji, and it looks pretty freaking thin if you guys could see it. And that value would be exactly at about 3 zeros and a 1017. And then the final area we do have to beat would be this area here of about 3 zeros and a 28. So those are the next areas we do need to revisit, or the next areas we do need to visit in order to start breaking new all-time highs, if anything. That is what I'm noticing on Pulse Chain. Do I expect a pullback on Pulse Chain? I would say yes. And I got a gut feeling that will probably get rejected at this Fibonacci retracement area, Twinksters. Especially with the Bollinger Band. I'm just seeing too much freaking confluence between the Bollinger Band and that Fibonacci retracement, if anything. You know what I'm saying? What do you think, dude?
Yeah, I think if the broader market is dipping, especially over the next, let's say, what do we got? 6 weeks, somewhere in that span of 6 weeks. Yeah, we'll definitely see a bounce on that. I know certain folks will be in certain levels of profit. They may elect to just trade the resistance level, projected resistance level on that one. I know you and I have had the opportunity to speak about this behind closed doors, and we won't go into all the fine details of that conversation. But I do want to ask what your thoughts are on BitBoy's projection for about 1/4 of a penny for this bull market run on Pulse. Do you think that's achievable based on what you've seen so far?
I think I think that we'll get at least. I'm playing it conservative, Twinkie. I think that we will at least get to a penny, bro. If anything, I mean, if you saw our prior episode, you saw when we measured from the bottom of Hex to the top of freaking to the top of Hex, the time frame that Hex bottomed and the time frame that Pulse Chain bottomed. And I think that with the amount of wallets that are coming on board now and the big influx of people that we're going to get into the Pulse Chain ecosystem, I think we'll blow past the penny, man. So at least get to a penny or blow past the penny, bro, if anything. Miguel cites, I guess Miguel's playing a little bit more conservative. He's saying about a penny. I'm estimating maybe about 3 to 4 cents. If I'm keeping it conservative, I think that's where we could end up going. Now, I do have some bullish beliefs, bro, but that will be talked about at a later time, if anything. You know what I'm saying, dude? But yeah, that's where I could see it going, all the way up there. I guess he's being conservative because he wants to test the waters a little bit, and he does not want to get his community wrecked. In boxing, bro, in boxing, if you get knocked out really bad, bro, The next time you come into the ring, you're not going to be the same. And I'm assuming senior individuals like him that have been in the crypto space have probably experienced incidents like that, bro, where he's made a real bad analysis, and a lot of people following got wrecked because of that analysis. And that's probably why he's playing it a little bit more conservative, if anything, man. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to get people wrecked.
Yeah, absolutely. And given his standing in the community, people people definitely take some of the things he states out of context. They don't acknowledge the fact that as market conditions change, so too do other things change. They just latch on to a 5 or 10-second soundbite. The other part of it too is I know, having had the opportunity to meet guys like Miguel and Charlie, they may say, some moon math target. Oh, it's possible it's going to do this, but we think it's more likely to be this. The instant somebody hears that higher number, they just stop thinking and they just go, oh, they said this number, it's going to be that. No, you idiot. Pay attention, please. At least give it 10 seconds of thought here on this. So I get it. I understand why they potentially may not want to reveal aspects of the moon math number. I'm going to agree with BitBoy on this one. I think quarter of a penny is very reasonable. If anything, it's probably more conservative than some of the numbers I've come up with. I was talking with some of the folks in the DGen Roundtable chat on their Telegram. Side note, go check out their YouTube channel. Their Telegram is still open for who knows how long before they move to a different model in the future. But if you look at something like CoinGecko, I think it calls for the bottom of Pulse Chain at like 4 zeros, 2578, whatever number that works out to be. So if you do something like, the different multiples, okay, all of a sudden I can see where BitBoy's coming up with a quarter of a penny on that front. I personally couldn't find that low in any chart I looked at. I asked a few folks if anyone else had seen a similar low. We were struggling to find that exact low. Lowest I've seen is like 4 zeros and a 33 something or other on the charts I was eyeballing. So there might be a wick low out there somewhere that is being picked up by an algorithm. I just couldn't easily find it. Not saying it doesn't exist, not saying I didn't miss it in the chart. It wasn't obvious to me if it's out there.
Yeah, I concur, man. I concur. And I mean, it's only normal to play it conservative. And I think, I mean, I forgot his name. There was this one individual, bro, who owned a Dogecoin, and he never sold. And he did that stream with that one cat, bro, that came on with Fresh and Fit. I keep forgetting. Dude, I have a brain fart right now, bro. That one finance cat, man. And he never sold his Dogecoin, bro. And he was way above freaking $3 or $4 million, dude. And dude never took profit. And then he wrote it all the way back down. Hopefully, and I do think it'll happen, man. Dogecoin will probably run back to the upside, but it is important to take profits as you go to the upside or as you pass certain thresholds, if anything, man. DCA out, if anything. Know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. And if you're in some of the communities in which I am on Telegram, or if you want to hit me up on Twitter or the like, I'm more than happy to share some tools and the like. I've made my own personal calculators for things like, okay, let's say I hit a 5x or a 500x or whatever. What if I take 20% out of my stack at each interval? Or I take a third out on a 3x, that's the de-risk, right? Or a fifth out on a 5x or a 10th out on a 10x. And I let the rest ride at certain intervals. Maybe I'm always skimming 10% off or some number, 10% here, 15% there, whatever the number is. What does that do in terms of influencing my profitability down the line? The sooner I pull funds out in the early stages of a bull market, the more I am muting my potential max returns down the line. But I also have to weigh that against the possibility of, okay, what do I think is more likely? Can I make a series of 10x moves versus one 10,000x move? I just got to kind of be realistic. But I have built some tools. You just punch some numbers in, check off the box. Again, feel free to hit me up on Telegram or on Twitter. I'm more than happy to share those.
Yeah, man.
I see the chat's busy tonight. We got a lot of people rolling through tonight.
I wish we had a Mr. Producer to help us out with this shit. You know what I'm saying? But there is an important freaking statement that I did see here, and that's from Alex P. He says, Twinkie Boogie dropping the alpha. Could you also talk about removing wallet token permissions, like using revoke.cash? Ideally, we should be using condom wallets, but it happens. So, yes, let me go ahead and show you cats the revoke.cash website. And this is it right here. You basically connect your wallet and it gives you permission to change out on which chain you're on. And it's in this area where you guys see my cursor at. Of course, I'm not going to connect my wallet to this right now. And then you can go ahead and revoke whichever permissions you have given. This is something that could end up saving your ass, especially if you ended up freaking giving permissions to a janky website, or maybe a noob freaking crypto website that you don't know how serious these individuals take security. So food for thought. This is one of the websites you guys can use. Let me share it in the link. And I did mention that we were going to talk, or I was going to show you a small video by Coin Bureau pertaining to the Engrave wallet. And here is a revoke.cash freaking link, so you guys can visit that. Let's go over to that video, Twinksters.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see what they got going on that one.
Yeah, let's see what it entails. Let's see. Let me go ahead and remove this shit. Present share screen, and I think it's this one. Engrave. Yeah, here we go. Here you go, monkeys. I'm gonna play the sucker for you. Let's see what it entails.
To the hardware wallet scene. Now, Engrave is designed for security. Physically, it's chunkier and far more robust than its counterparts on this list. While it's a tough nut on the outside, though, its security features beneath the hood are what's really impressive. The Engrave Zero is the first hardware wallet in the world that is EAL7 certified, which is the highest security certification in the world for the blockchain and financial industry. It has a fingerprint reader as well as a PIN for two-factor authentication, and its seed generation mechanism is highly innovative, using the highest level of randomness. The Engrave also provides a few cunning ways to reduce the likelihood of you being a victim of a so-called man-in-the-middle attack, which, in simple terms, is when a hacker secretly intercepts and alters communications between you and a website, a relative newcomer to the hardware wallet scene.
That's pretty cool. Oh, Boogie, we lost you on audio again, man.
Yeah, that's why it sparked my freaking interest, bro. I thought it was pretty damn gangster, with the exception that it's pretty damn freaking expensive, bro. It is $500. I'd rather put that into crypto right now. But, dude, I don't know, man. As our wallets become more valuable over time, as the bull market progresses, bro, sometimes it may be worth not buying more crypto and buying something like that, dude. You know what I mean? Because security is paramount. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or
along with that little box that you showed us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, right, the name of the game here is ideally we don't want single points of failure, right? And so that security can come in the form of knowledge, info security, information security, operational security, physical security, right? Like be it things you may have to protect yourself, such as the array of tools behind you, be it investing in some skills like getting down to your local boxing, jiu-jitsu, MMA gym to learn how to scrap if push comes to shove, keeping your assets safe from fire and water, having a game plan for all this. I encourage people to think too about InfoSec and OPSEC. I know we talk about bridges and the like. I'll give you a prime example. The gentleman I was helping earlier today with an issue, he had his number readily visible in his Telegram profile. He was using his real name on Telegram, and I walked out of that with his wallet addresses, right? I know who you are, your phone number, and all of your current wallet addresses. Not great. I am not a, generally speaking, nefarious individual. There are some sharks out there. That's something that could come back to haunt you down the line.
Yeah, I concur completely, man. You do have to be pretty big on OPSEC. And dude, going back, dude, and I know I'm being redundant about this shit, bro, but that's why it's important to be part of a group like the Citadel or the Crypto Mindset course, bro, because, or the Cats at the Degen Roundtable, or a follower of you, Mr. Angry Twinkie, or myself, because, I mean, we preach this shit. You know what I'm saying? You do need that community, bro, that's going to freaking echo that shit in your ear constantly. Don't sell, hodl. Or, hey, man, don't fucking give out your seed phrases. Don't fucking give up your security information. Let not your freaking phone number be displayed and things of this nature, bro. See that you got a screen here, Twinkie. You want me to share that shit?
Yeah. So speaking of just some different things running on in the background, it's been an interesting news week. So for everyone's, let's say, favorite methamphetamine addict in the crypto space or not, if you were, one of the victims who got wrecked due to his decision making and his team's decision making, there's some chatter about SBF's sentence might be lighter than you'd expect, and that is due to it being a white collar crime and potentially it is advisory sentencing, not mandatory sentencing. So the question here is, what kind of sentence might SBF wind up with, especially as certain creditors are being made whole or close to whole, or to a lesser extent, getting some sort of payout. So in this particular case, restitution paid back to victims is a factor, but it's largely if it's before the offense was detected. And I wonder how much this is eating up Sam in his cell, and or like at night, as if he just managed to hold on a little longer, he could potentially be a crypto trillionaire in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
But it
man.
just didn't work out that way, right? That's got to somewhat, I don't know, maybe he's just like a complete sociopath and he doesn't care. But sentencing is due next month. I think Bernie Madoff, for the Madoff's crimes, I think he got like 82 years on his sentencing. So in my mind, the question here is, what kind of sentencing is Sam going to get? And is it a slap on the wrist just due to what he was donating, and he's got politicians in his pocket and they're going to try to bail him out? Or are they going to hang him out to dry on this one and say, he did it and we knew nothing about it and we're not giving you the money back anyway, so go ahead and burn this one at the stake?
Yeah.
So that's the SBF side of things. Everyone else, let's see. Brown saying SBF already suffered enough. He had sex with that girl. Hey, don't hate on Sweet Caroline. Plus, it's not his fault that you didn't take your coins off in exchange. Now, that part is true, but you think about all the normies who just don't know better, and that's something we need to continue to do as a community. Not just onboard people, but educate them on the ways and the ethos and the premise of crypto, and the ways in which they stand to benefit by effectively becoming their own banks in a lot of ways. And I've said crypto in a lot of ways represents ultimate freedom, but with it comes ultimate responsibility. You can be right 1,000 different times over. In general, it is possible in this space, right? Being wrong once gets you zeroed out.
Yeah, I concur, man. Definitely agree. And answering Brown's questions, man. SPF already suffered. He had sex with that girl, dude. Man, Brown, you know all about them freaking tortas in the Hispanic community, bro. Carolina ain't got nothing on our tortas, homie. Ain't got nothing on our tortas, bro.
Hey, she must have been doing something right. She was smashing all the millionaires and billionaires.
I guess so, bro.
Right? How's that work out?
I guess so, man.
I got one more before we get back into tokens.
Sure.
The other, let's say crypto figurehead that warrants a mention. And I think he did what he did in general. Okay, yeah, he got to line his pockets, but he did it for the good of crypto. Is our boy CZ. So CZ is facing 18 months in jail. Prosecutors, of course, are saying, hey, man, just accept the deal. Just accept the deal. So they're definitely trying to make an example out of him. It's $4.3 billion penalty. See, we're getting some folks are having some fun in the chat here. So 5 years of monitoring too. So he's coming up on his sentencing. Prosecution is saying, hey, it's intentional, basically misconduct and underreporting and not following regulatory compliance rules, jeopardizing the integrity of the U.S. financial system. So they're saying, hey, the admission by entering a guilty plea is that potentially, and I guess according to the government, transactions went to designated terrorist organizations being allowed on Binance platform, money laundering, and other elements. So 18 months, potentially 5 years of monitoring and the like. CZ has talked about this, though. They were witnessing the evolution of DeFi, and they knew it was going to eat ultimately into some of the Binance revenues and profits. Now, I think the question here is to what extent and at what speed. But I think CZ basically was faced with a choice. Hey, do we continue to play fast and loose and play the game this cycle, or do we crack down and maybe reduce stuff? I'll take the gamble, because even if I pay out billions of dollars, I probably still have millions to billions of dollars in assets. And,
yeah, man, dude,
he'll get the Arthur Hayes treatment, I think, at the end of this.
I mean, I think they got CZ on some fucking bullshit, bro. I think they're just angry at the fact that he freaking wrecked SPF, dude. And because SPF, of course, man, he donated a shitload of dinero over to the freaking Democrats and silently donated dinero over to the Republicans as well, bro. And I'm saying he was ninja about donating to the Republicans, but he was pretty damn freaking loud about donating to freaking Democrats. So I think to do him a favor, his homies, they went ahead and they came after CZ. That's probably what ended up happening. Now, people were painting CZ, bro, as some freaking angel that saved the crypto space, going after the great villain, freaking SPF. But I mean, eventually CZ would have become a villain as well, bro. It always turns out that way, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
What's
now he
that
gets
quote
to
in
kind of be a
Batman?
martyr.
Do you remember that quote in Batman, bro?
Either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I believe that's
Boom.
how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, man. That's probably what it. But CZ actually did a good thing, man. I'm glad he ended up freaking wrecking SBF, dude, because, dude, it was rumored that SBF was the one that freaking was responsible for all that Terra Luna shit. You know what I'm saying? And I've heard Charlie and Miguel say that, dude, we could have gone to 100,000 last freaking cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they admitted to trying to suppress the price of BTC, and they were arguably very successful in that. And yeah, the let's say the SBF FTX washing of funds is gone, right? And look, I think many of us have reason to believe that certain funds that were sent overseas were coming back through FTX in some way, shape, or form and being routed to assorted politicians and individuals' pockets here in the States.
Yeah, I concur, man. I concur. I wasn't freaking our homie Gary Gensler up in freaking the Bahamas visiting Mr. SBF. Remember that shit?
Yeah, absolute bullshit.
Yeah, man. Do you want me to share this, Swingsters? What you're
No, we can keep cruising on. I know we've been chatting a bit here. So I suspect some folks probably want to see some pretty pictures painted by the crayon connoisseur Boogie.
All right, Nellyville's laughing his ass off because we cited tortas, bro. Oh, if you didn't know, man, tortas are like the heavy set chicks in the Mexican community, bro. But it's also a very a meal full of carbs and meats and cheeses. You know what I'm saying? The horrible things I've done after a night of drinking. I need a shower now. Ay, ay, ay.
How do you say it in Spanish? Was it like I see a few of Brown's comments throughout there? Brown quiere beber what leche materna camboyana or something to that effect.
I don't know how you say Cambodian in freaking Spanish, bro. That's actually a good question. And then my homie Tex-Mex on our tortas and gordas. Oh yeah, bro. Definitely, man. Definitely. I did say that we're gonna hit up the Alipel. I have to keep that promise before we move on to freaking doggone Polkadot. And let's go ahead over to the Elipal. I don't have a video on the Elipal. One of my homies actually has one of these. Let me see. Let me pull this sucker up, man. Vamos a ver. Give me a second. Got it here. Cool. Let me go and share this sucker. This is another option for you cats that don't want to buy something as expensive as the Engrave, bro. And this is the Elipal Titan 2.0 cold wallet, and it runs for 169 bucks. Its platform is kind of similar to freaking the Engrave, but this says that it's an EAL5 upgraded security. The Engrave is, I think, an EAL7. So food for thought, monkeys. This is also a great option. You know what I'm saying? And this has been in the market longer than the Engrave. So food for thought. And we'll ship basically about 2 weeks, give or take. Let me go ahead and give you guys this shit in the link in the freaking in the chat. So I don't want you monkeys to get wrecked. Now, remember, one thing that we forgot to say, Twinksters, is anytime you buy any of these cold storage wallets, or I like to call them lukewarm wallets. For example, the freaking ledgers and the treasures. You want to buy directly from the website. You don't want to get it from a secondary party because an employee could have freaking opened that shit up, accessed the information, and now he knows your shit. You know what I'm saying?
So wait a second. You're telling me I shouldn't continue to use that used French ledger I bought from the Chinese guy down the street on Craigslist?
Exactly, homie. No, use it. Use it, Twinkie. Absolutely use it.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I concur. All right, cats, you guys have got the freaking Elipel on there. You know what? Let's move on to the fragrance of the day. Nellyville, I know this is what you've been waiting for all day. You've been waiting for an hour for this, bro. I actually just bought this sucker today, man. I went fragrance hunting. I hit up a couple of fragrances. I hit up freaking Invictus freaking Victory Elixir. I thought it smelled good. I checked out freaking Inicio Oud for Greatness. Inicio freaking, I think it was Side Effect. And I also checked out some Arabic fragrances. I don't remember what those were called, but I ended up getting some Jean Paul Gaultier. This is a great freaking fresh fragrance, but I got a massive complaint about this shit, Twinksters. A massive freaking complaint. This shit, they always come up with a freaking, dude, they always come up with the most flamboyant freaking bottles, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Why are you gay?
Exactly, man. Look at that shit, man. Why you gotta be so damn flamboyant, dog? Now, the juice in here does smell pretty damn freaking good. It ran me for about 130 bucks, and you're probably wondering which John Paul Gaultier this one is, man. This is Le Beau. When I smell this shit, man, I get a sweet citrus vibe, and I think it would be safe for the gym, if anything, man. I do get sometimes hints of vanilla when I freaking smell this shit, and it does last a good freaking time, bro. Now, I was telling Twinksters, and I'll do a review on this sucker later, is if you need an evening fragrance and a day fragrance, you could just rock as the Ultra Mall, which is also from John Paul Gaultier, and you can rock this one. This is for the evening. This is for the day, man. I was listening to some freaking German chick on Jeremy Fragrance's channel, and she said she was in the metro. When she was on the metro, that she smelled this scent, which is Ultramall, and she turned around and the guy was a 1. But because he smelled so damn good, she brought his status up all the way up to a freaking 6. But yeah, I do concur, man. I do concur with the little meme that you played, bro. These are pretty damn flamboyant, if anything, dude. But they smell fabulous, by the way. That's basically all you need. If you're on a budget, just get these two and you'll be fine. Ultramall and freaking Le Beau. You'll be solid, homie.
So Boogie, we potentially those 2 cents. You got one for daytime, one for evening. Hypothetically, let's say you got your daytime scent you're rocking. You're going to go to the gym. How do you manage switching up from a daytime scent to a nighttime scent if you're going out on date night?
Well, for example, let's say I'm at work. I'm grinding it out. I'm wearing, depending on the time of day I'm working, I'll be using a daytime fragrance or an evening fragrance. Come home, take a shower, hit up the gym, bro, and then I will go to something like this, which is a fresh fragrance. And then when it comes to the evening, when I come shower again, I will then transition over to the sweet fragrance. You know what I'm saying? One for evening, one for day. Now, a lot of people didn't know that there's freaking fragrances for the night and for the day. Yeah, man, it depends on the situation you're in. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I overspray the fuck out of my fragrances, depending on the environment I'm in. Of course, I'm not going to do that shit on an airplane or in a vehicle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you on that one, brother. But I think you used a very important word in there a few times that maybe is lost on some of the younger members of the community.
Wash your ass.
Shower, clean yourself up.
Yeah. Wash your freaking ass, dude. You know what I'm saying? And we got Agent J. Dude, Agent J got taste, homie. Got him.
Yeah. Having had the opportunity to meet some of our fellow moon gangers, hey man, I get it. I love my caffeine. I can stare at charts and data and read things on releases and unlock schedules and crush all the Coke Zero in the world. Yeah, at some point in time, you got to get up and take that shower at least once a year, whether you need it or not.
Yeah. Food for thought, cats. I would highly recommend. Go over to Kevin Samuel's freaking YouTube channel and type in things my father should have taught me. That is a must-see video for all men. All dudes need to see that shit. It's about an hour long, but trust me, that dude, the data on there is freaking golden, especially for you younger cats. Myron's always talking about this shit. A lot of dudes fucking stink and they don't even fucking know about it, bro. Why? Because we're dudes. You know what I'm saying? We're just men.
Boogie, your audio cut out again, brother. No mas. Scene audio. So while Boogie's getting himself patched up on that for audio, take a damn shower.
Testing.
Welcome back.
Yeah, there you go, man. I have heard Myron say this shit, man, that a lot of dudes don't know they fucking stink. Example given, man. But I know freaking when my shit smells bad, for example, like the hand wraps I use at fucking boxing, wrapping my hands and shit, the shit you put in the gloves. Dude, that shit's fucking starts smelling after a while, bro. So, dude, you got to make sure you pull that shit out of your car, bro, because a lot of ladies pick up on scents and they're a lot more sensitive to the shit we are sensitive to because we're fucking men. I would not be surprised, man. You got some dudes, bro, that go to work, spend 12 hours at work, freaking immediately get out of work and go straight to the date, bro. That's, come on, dude, it's common sense. You got to go home, wash your freaking ass, bro. Then apply your freaking fragrance, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Common sense, bro. Common sense. Well, maybe not so much for men. You know what I'm saying?
Common sense ain't so common these days. Things that have been lost to time.
Yeah, dude. And then Agent J, go fund me for Boogie. Need to replace the great value Mike. Hey, dude, this is a freaking, what do you call this shit? A road, bro. Why don't
Road.
you talk
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Probably just needs batteries, brother. What a set of batteries go for? 1 ETH. So Agent J, if you want to donate 1 ETH to get some batteries for
Yeah,
Boogie, I'm
yeah,
sure we
dude.
can
One
work
whole
something
ETH.
out.
Yeah, about a whole pulse chain's worth of ETH, bro. You know what I'm saying? That would be gangster. All right, cats. Let's move on to the next token, bro. Let's move on to the next token, and we'll go over to Polkadot. Let's see where we got the dot at. Let's see where we got the dot at, homie. And we are currently looking at the dot chart. It's unfortunate that Moonpill Rational Optics isn't here today. Current value of dot is at $7.76. I personally don't own any dot. And we were following this Elliott wave sequence. I'm sure you can tell. I'm assuming that if this last portion does play out into the wave 5, it would possibly look something ugly like that. Know what I mean? And then we would put our 0 ABC wave on the way down. Now, it could possibly go all the way up over here to about, I'd say 1049 instead of 0, because remember, wave 2 to 3 has to be larger than wave 0 to 1 and 4 to 5, if anything. And then we could possibly get a retracement back, but I would have to look back at the data. I'm assuming that this would be a good spot for level A to come revisit, because we did scaffold right here, Twinksters, on about December 13th in this general time frame. Know what I mean? So if we do run up to this side and we come retrace, we could possibly end up starting the ABC wave. But at most, I think we'll probably get up to about $10.41. This is only speculation. This is not guaranteed. I'm not promising anything. This is not financial advice. Now, where are we as far as the 20-day cycle goes on freaking Polkadot? If you look at this sucker, it has seemed that we broke our 20-day cycle because we're at about 27 days, give or take. It does not always follow this sequence, and I'm glad this came up because you guys can see that 20-day cycles don't always work all the time. Of course, if the market decides it wants to do something different, a 20-day cycle won't always end up pulling that off. Now, let's pull up the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD, and let's see what that entails. Now, as per the MACD, it does seem that we're slightly bullish. Let me go ahead and turn off this freaking histogram so you guys can see a little bit more clearer. The blue line is over the red line, and it does seem that there's a decent distance between both of them. And it does seem that the blue line wants to continue traveling to the upside. So what that tells me is that we'll probably continue rallying in that fashion. If we activate our EMA ribbon, we do have it as a decent area of support. And the 200 EMA is below that. So that's another area of support. And I am noticing that all moving averages are below the current value at the time being. And that's what I got on dot, monkeys. Now, I was telling freaking Twinksters that as per dot, if I could go back in time and I had more freaking dinero, this would be our token I would probably ape into, for the reason being that I would like to hold the layer 0 in my wallet. Now, Twinksters, you were saying that according to freaking Fearless, you got to have a certain amount in order to stake that sucker, right?
Yeah. So I got some information. If you want to drag my screen up, I can just kind of talk through a few things here real quick. So this is from the Polkadot wiki on this page, and they're just talking about staking here. As of the moment, to stake with an active nominator, it's going to be 578 and some fraction of dot, right? So what is dot's price today? Sitting around 775 at the moment. So if that's the case, yeah, it's the give or take, right?
Twinksters,
So that's like, yeah, I got you. It's about what, 4,400, just shy of 4,500, I think, right now. If you had 578 dot needed to stake, so there's potential. Yeah, there's potentially a barrier to entry. Whereas like a few months back or during the bottoms last year, I think it was roughly half that. So in roughly 1 year, if you want to stake directly with some of the nominators, your effective entry price is doubled. However, they do call out in their documentation, if you have less DOT than the minimum active stake nomination and want to participate, you need to join a nomination pool, which you can enter for as low as 1 DOT. So I personally hold a solid sized bag of DOT. Again, wish I had more in the grand scheme of things. I've had the opportunity to stake it previously where that amount was not that high. I should probably go check that stake and see the health of the stake. Push comes to shove, I'll rotate it onto a nomination pool on that front. Also, on the dot news side of things, they've been marching their way towards what they're calling Polkadot 2.0. There are a few little pieces of information relative to that. One of the things that they are implementing was, let me just get the exact number for you. It is something called, let's get the exact label on it. RFC 10, which is for dot burning related to revenue generation. So one of the things that they're going to switch to is selling block space on Polkadot and using that to generate revenue. In turn, they will take the dot generated from that revenue and like to burn it off. So it's going to add a deflationary mechanism. Now, my recollection, it's been a while since I've looked at their documentation, is DOT inflates at around 10% a year, but I believe that's largely or almost entirely paid out to stakers and validators on that front. Cool. So it'll have, I think it works out to be like an inflationary deflationary token moving forward. So they are implementing that extra burn layer on that. I didn't see what the burn rate was. Certainly, I believe in having a layer 0. Last I looked is about 1.4 billion of total circulating supply. Roughly the top 10 holders holding approximately a quarter of all DOT is kind of how that works out. So yeah, certainly exciting things from the Polkadot team on that front. I also think they have an Ethereum bridge that they're working on that front. I know they signed a deal and a lot of Cardano development is using Polkadot tech on the back end. So I suspect we'll have to talk to Moonpill here in the near future and pick his brain for some other dot intel.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, bro. And I know he's got data on that. You know, funny thing is, I've never heard freaking Moonpill talk anything about Kusama.
So I hold a little bit of Kusama, which is the canary, as they call it, network. I think people get all bent out of shape when you call it a test network. Mm-hmm. So I know DOT is much more, compared to Kusama, strictly controlled in what is or is not allowed, whereas on Kusama, it's a little more cutting edge, a little more loose on some of the types of deployments and experimental nature of Kusama. You can try some stuff out, whereas DOT's a little more structured and regimented.
Cool. I remember Miguel would do a lot of ratio trading between those two tokens, man.
Yes. Yeah. I can't say I've ratio traded those. I did some ratio trading more so in the early days of PulseX and Pulse. Yeah. On that front, that's how I built out a substantial portion of my Pulse bag in those early days. Now I just don't have that kind of time to necessarily play those ratio trades as frequently or to sit down and observe those charts as often. I want to call out something here. We were talking about not smelling bad and like hand wraps. And I used to train a lot more actively in jiu-jitsu. And when I was doing like back-to-back classes, I would bring a spare gi. Agent Jay has got one here saying the judo team back in high school never washed their gis. Apparently it was disrespectful. Yeah, that is like some really old school mentality on that. Man, I don't want ringworm and shit. And goddamn, those things stink like hell if they sit in a gym bag, for any length of time. Right. Yeah, like I was going through all sorts of laundry when I was training a lot more actively. Yeah, it is. I get it. That's one of those really old school things. But yeah, it's friggin' nasty. One of the other nasty things too is people would wash their gis, but not their belts. That's disgusting. Like, throw that shit in the wash, clean that shit up. I don't want that shit on me. I mean, I'm already dealing with like sweat and blood and making contact. Yeah, at least clean that shit up.
I concur, man. I concur. One of the tricks that I use for my boxing gloves, bro, those fabric softening things that you can put in the dryer. You seen them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put those inside my gloves, man. And that siphons out all the odor and shit like that. It's one of the methods that I do use. But yeah, man, I am guilty of that sometimes, man. I'm a freaking dude. You're on the go, bro, and washing those hand wraps, bro. That shit can get freaking that shit can get time consuming. And sometimes you hate showing up at the gym and not having freaking hand wraps. You know what I'm saying? And having to use the gloves with no fucking hand wraps, dude. It makes a world of difference. Yeah, you can chew up your freaking knuckles like that, if anything. I wanted to show one more token on here, and this could be a kind of, you say, a bonus token. Of course, I used to hold this on KuCoin back in the day, and I ended up dumping it. Of course, it didn't make much of a pump because we were already heading into a bear run, and it is a token that used to be on Polkadot, but from my understanding, it went over onto Polkadot's, one of Polkadot's parachains, and that is Remark. It is in a game. I think it's based off a game, and the only place I can really pull up a chart on it is on this ugly ass freaking website of charts.cointrader.pro. I do want to do a little bit more research. I want to see what's going on with this stuff. I did show Twinkie something about it, but we were running kind of short for time, so I didn't want to rush through it and do my research and be inaccurate on the stuff. But I did want to show you cats a chart, if anything. Now, as you can tell, where we're at right now, if we take our 20-day cycle and we pull this sucker this way, and we pull it this way, it seems that we may be on about day 16. So any day now, we might get a pullback. I am seeing that the 200 moving average may act as an area of support if we do come to the downside. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see it clear, Twinksters? This yellow line here?
Yeah. Some of those lines, they just need a second to like pop in when the chart's moving. But yeah, other than that, you're good.
Yeah, man. And you can see that currently the 200 moving average is acting as an area of resistance as it's boxing the value within that price range. The Bollinger Bands, if I activate that sucker, you can see that we are pressing hard on the top portion of the Bollinger Band, and we have pierced past the top portion of the Bollinger Band. So that would tell me that we're probably going to start retracing to the downside, and hopefully we hit this area here of a value of about 210. Current value is about 233. Now, let's see what the all-time high is for our MRK or Remark. And that value on a candle body is $51. On a wick, you're talking about at about $65, give or take. I want to do a little bit more research on this shit so I can tell you cats about it a little bit more. I do know that Miguel used to be bullish on this. I haven't asked him as of recent if he's been looking into it. But then again, he's super freaking busy with the crypto mindset course at the time being. And I don't think this was cited within the top 100 coins. So I wanted to give this shit a revisit to see exactly where it was at. Now, if you look at the bottom, as per the relative strength index, we're kind of oscillating sideways a little bit. So let me pull this up so you guys can see that. And I usually like to buy below the 50% marker area. And currently our value is at about, not value, but our current RSI is at about 53%. I would like to get it below 50, possibly approaching this area of about 30%, give or take. That would be an awesome area to buy. But if not, I'll use the data that I do have prior. So in an area of about 35 would be good. I'll probably start DCAing here at 40 if I do find that this token is still relevant or is still going to do freaking good, man. So food for thought, monkeys. That is the last token of the day. Twinksters, where can they find you at, man?
Yeah. At Mr. Angry Twinkie on Twitter and YouTube. You can catch me on the same handle if you want to tag me in something in Telegram. Oftentimes you can find me in the Citadel or the DGen Roundtable chats. Feel free to hit me up on that front. I'm more than happy to have a conversation about anything. How about yourself, Boogie? What's the best way to find you out there in the third net?
Let me drop my link tree. Son. I got my OnlyFans on here and everything else.
Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, no, cats. My Instagram's on here. My Twitter is on here, and also my YouTube. I'm also on Rumble, crypto_boogie, but nobody really visits that site. But nevertheless, I still upload my videos because even my shit that was originally nuked on my first YouTube channel is still up over there. So food for thought, monkeys. That is a good place to get a hold of me on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want a consultation or help on your on your crypto portfolio, you can hit me up, and you can message me either on Instagram or Twitter as well. I am more than welcome to help you cats. All right, monkeys, we will catch you guys on the flip side. And next weekend, we will definitely hit you up with another freaking tacos and kimchi. Hey, who knows, man? We might even add a little bit of Filipino flavor to this with my friend Agent J. That would be pretty damn gangster. And cats, catch me tomorrow. I am going to be doing a stream with Sloth tomorrow, Crypto Sloth. We're going to hit up some freaking data on Hedron and also freaking Icosa. Hit it, Twinkie.
Thanks, team. Appreciate having you all here. Have a great evening. We will see you next time.